Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. Very glad you're here. Good to see you. Welcome to the comfy corner of the internet, this little space where we do a little drinking and a little thinking. So I'd like to invite you to come join me. I'd be honored if you would. And hopefully we'll learn something today that we didn't know yesterday. Bring what you got, of course, or nothing at all. I won't judge. But brought the old trusty Earl Grey tonight. And just gonna throw it out there, a little bit of a somber episode tonight. And actually, normally I offer a toast to you and Jesus, and I'd like to add a third person in there tonight, and her name was Kate Tibbitts. So, that being said, cheers to you, Jesus too, and Kate Tibbitts. Now, why am I offering a toast to Kate Tibbitts? I'll just dive right into it. There's really no easy explanation. I got two articles I want to share with you. It's just one of those things, you know, I hardly knew her. I didn't know her at all, actually. Didn't know she existed until this happened. And just one of those things, you know, really makes you think. So, like I said, I'll just dive right into the articles. Obviously, I live in California, for those of you who don't know, and Sacramento is just down the street from me. Well, I mean, it's like a 30-minute freeway drive, but I think you get my drift. So, anyway, this took place in Sacramento, and this article is from a local news station, KCRA3, and the title reads, Kate Tibbitts, remembered as animal advocate, Land Park community demands answers in killing. And it reads as follows. Quote, I was completely shocked. I mean, this is a neighborhood's worst nightmare, said Christina Rogers, vice president of the Land Park Community Association. Tibbitts, 61, and her two dogs were found dead over the weekend. Investigators say the suspected killer, I'm not even going to say his name. You know, they do this all the time in the media, you know, these mass shooters, these killers, they say their name, publish their manifesto. The guy didn't have a manifesto, obviously, but I'm still not going to give him the dignity or the satisfaction of saying his name. I want him to be an unnamed nobody like he deserves. So, if you check out the links below, you can read the full article, you know, if you're that curious, but I'm not going to dignify this person by even saying his name, so just throwing that out there. Anyway, back a little bit. The suspected killer then set the house on fire. He was booked into jail for murder, sexual assault, arson, and burglary. Outside Tibbitts' home on Wednesday, a circle of candles sat in the driveway, and flowers and dog treats lined the entrance. Tibbitts, who went by Kate, was a volunteer with the SPCA for the past 25 years and had recently retired. She was always there for us. It broke our hearts, said Ken Altine with Sacramento SPCA. We know how much she loved animals, and we hope that she knows how much we loved her. Tibbitts helped with a number of SPCA activities, including book sales, where she helped sort the books and worked as a cashier, and she volunteered at the Doggy Dash in Land Park. Anthony Ambrosino lives across the street from the house where neighbors said Tibbitts lived for about 10 years. Summer evenings, he said, usually meant he'd see Tibbitts. It's really eerie, Ambrosino said earlier this week. I'm used to seeing her when I get home, often in the summer, reading a book on her front porch, and she's always got her dogs out with her. He said that she was the only neighbor on his street who had a key to his home and would watch his pets when they traveled. Tibbitts' accused murderer had just been released from jail in a June car theft case on zero bail, despite 2 prior strikes on his record. The biggest thing I have to ask is why was this guy let out in our neighborhood, Rogers asked. The murder happened in Sacramento City Council member Katie Valenzuela's district. I think the criminal justice system is broken, she said. The council member believes the piece of garbage human being, his criminal history should have been taken into consideration when deciding whether to let him out of jail. I'm not a lawyer or a law enforcement person, but when I have someone with that history with a meth addiction who had just been picked up on what would have likely been his third strike, my instinct is that you keep him in jail, Valenzuela said. And there you have it. I have to agree with Councilmember Valenzuela. The man shouldn't have been out. I have another article I'd like to share with you. More on the zero bail topic. This is from another local news site, Fox 40, which reads, the title, Family of Slain Land Park Woman Says She Was Victim of California's Zero Bail Policy. And it reads as follows. Sacramento, California, KTXL, the brothers of Mary Kate Tibbitts, who was killed inside her Land Park home Friday, shared their feelings about losing their 61-year-old sister. The priority has to be public safety, George Tibbitts told Fox 40. This is not a new story. There are many victims of crimes committed by people out on bail, and it shouldn't happen, particularly one so gruesome, as happened to our sister. Sacramento police arrested 51-year-old, the guy, once again, not going to say his name, a parolee with a violent history on suspicion of killing Mary Kate Tibbitts and her 2 dogs. He was also charged with assault, intent to commit rape, and arson for allegedly setting the house on fire. If he ends up being convicted, and we think he will, it is obvious that he should never have been released in the first place and given the freedom to commit his heinous crimes, George Tibbitts said. The brothers, along with the California District Attorneys Association, believe California's zero bail policy failed their family. Our only hope is that it won't take years for the citizens of the state to wake up and realize that we have the ultimate power to insist on changes to laws and the people who implement those laws, to effect reforms that are so badly needed to protect ourselves from the evil that exists among us, George Tibbitts said. Mary Kate Tibbitts' family described her as being committed to those she held close, willing to share their burdens without thought of her own, and she was a champion to homeless dogs and cats. She loved animals so much that she volunteered for 25 years at the Sacramento Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals as a foster parent, a dog walker, and rescuing senior dogs for herself. The family says those senior dogs, Molly and Ginny, also took their last breath alongside their foster parent in the home they shared together. The huge void in our lives will never be filled. Our only comfort is in knowing that Kate's soul is in a better place, George Tibbitts said. I think we all can agree that this shouldn't have happened. I don't know how it is in your state, but we've become overrun with do-gooders here in California. People who think that there shouldn't be any punishments for any crime. I mean, we've effectively made crime legal. I mean, if you really think about it, if you don't punish crime, there's no consequences for their actions. What's going to stop these horrible people from doing these things? This man had a record. And there's no sugarcoating. This man was evil. Evil. He had a long record, a history of violent assault, stealing cars, meth addict. I mean, look, I hate to say it. I really, I don't want to say it, but I gotta say it, because somebody has to say it. Some people just can't be reformed. And they shouldn't be walking around among us. And I don't understand how we as a society got away from that idea. I mean, look, back in the day, they used to string people up like that. And we should. We should. I'm not going to apologize for saying that. We should. We definitely should. I mean, think about it. That man is beyond reform. A man that commits these crimes over and over and over again. this YouTube algorithm censorships, I'm not going to apologize for this one. Rape. The woman was raped. She was murdered. And then the man killed her dogs and burned her house down. What do you do with a person like that? And I'm just going to throw this out there. Jail is too good for that man. He gets 3 meals, a bed, a roof, on my dime? On your dime? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You need to execute that person. I know it sounds harsh. I know it's not politically correct to say, but I challenge you. You, John Q. Public, look around you. Once again, I'm in California. Let me give you my experiences. I look around. This happens all the time. Because we don't enforce the laws. We don't punish people appropriately for their crimes. And it's everywhere. I mean, look, they decriminalized theft here in California. I think if you steal under like $1,000, nothing's going to happen to you. And I kid you not. I mean, there's YouTube videos. You can look it up. There's guys that just walk in a store, get stuff, just bundle it up, throw it in a trash bag, and just walk out the door. Walk right out the door.
Mark, TJ Maxx, the latest chain here to be targeted by those brazen thieves. The suspects walking in and simply loading up bags of goods and walking out.
That looks great. Hold on.
Dropping hangers as they make off with their illegal haul. This viral video of another brazen heist is the latest in a growing rash of retail robberies.
And I've seen with my own eyes, okay, I was driving back. There's a little shopping area in a couple, town next to me. It's called the Factory Outlets. Big outdoor kind of strip mall thing. Got a lot of fancy shops. I was driving that neighborhood and I saw this guy. Younger guy, kind of my age. And he had his arms full of clothes and they all had tags. And he had a hat, which still had the tag on it. And he had a backpack, which still had the tag on it. The shoes that he was wearing still had the tag on it. What do you think is going to happen when you decriminalize crime? When there are no consequences for actions? Honestly, what are you thinking? Libbies, lefties? Come on now, I mean, let's be honest. This isn't a hunky-dory, hold hands, rainbows world. I'm sorry. I wish it was, but it's not. This is a real, fallen, corrupted world. And there are evil, nasty, horrible people out there that should not be walking among us. And it's your fault. This woman's blood is on your hands. It shouldn't have happened. But you and your rainbows and your kumbaya, you did this. And I want to take it further than that. You politicians, once again, there's no consequences for the actions, are there? Right? You can sign these bills, these zero reform or zero bail or whatever, decriminalize stuff. Nothing happens to you, does it? I think one day that's going to change, though. I'm not going to do anything, certainly, but I think people are going to start getting angry. So I want to warn you. I want to give you a heads up, politicians. Actions have consequences, and if you piss people off enough, you might have problems. Personally, I'd like to see you have legal problems. Just personally, me, right? Whoever signed this bill, zero bail, right? Whoever signed the bill, wrote the bill, sponsored the bill, the governor, I think you should go to jail. Straight up, right? You get up here and lie to us, and bad stuff this happens. There should be consequences. You should go to jail for signing a bill, for supporting a bill that resulted in this. Straight up, okay? Same thing on a state level, but a national level. You get up there and you lie to us and you tell us that a country has weapons of mass destruction and people die. We go to war and nothing happens to you. You should go to jail. You should be locked up forever.
I take the threat very seriously. I take the fact that he develops weapons of mass destruction very seriously.
You talked about how just sick you felt to your stomach when you found out there were no weapons of mass destruction. Can you bring me to that moment? Did someone walk in and say, we've stopped looking, they're not there?
No,
Who was it? How did that happen?
It just kind of was it evolved. The fact that there wasn't weapons evolved. I mean, I was, you know, when we first got in there and started looking around and didn't find anything, you get that kind of sinking feeling that, uh-oh. And then time went on, and then we got tips, you know, I'll never forget the tip that there was crates buried, you know, hidden in the Euphrates River. So they found, maybe these are them, and they've sent frogmen, and there was nothing there. And so, and then of course George Tenet had the inspectors go back in, or David Kay and Dulfer, and that pretty well was a period at the end of the sentence there. And yeah, I felt terrible about it. And
we're a society with no consequences. But that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm doing this. I'm calling for consequences here and now. I'm going to pressure my legislatures and my congressmen and everybody, and I ask you to do the same. We need to get rid of people like this. It's harsh, I know, but it works. Okay, for thousands of years of human history, they've executed people. They figured it out. You can't have evil, bad people walking among us. And you can't set the precedent that we're going to lock you up, but we're going to have you have TV and free meals. And it's just, that's not a punishment. I'm sorry, especially for something as sick as this. You got to go. Okay? It's what a civilized society would do. And I know current society thinks that sounds backwards, but if you think about it, it makes sense. A civilized society removes uncivilized people. And that's how civilization can continue. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to tell you. There needs to be consequences. Look around you. If you're here in California, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But homelessness, drug epidemic, crime is everywhere. It's rampant. Just me personally, my car got stolen a couple months ago. I don't know if I brought that up in another video, but yeah, my car got stolen. What's going to happen to the dude? Probably nothing. Probably nothing. But yeah, they found the guy eventually. Yeah, I don't think anything's going to happen to him. Stuff should happen to these people. I can rant on and on and on about it, but I think I've made my point. This was avoidable. There should be consequences. Politicians need to feel the heat, preferably through jail. I would sponsor a bill, hands down, for a politician to go to jail for lying and stuff like this. I really would. And I hope you would too. So, anyway, don't want to ramble on for too long. I just wanted to bring this to your attention. It's tragic. Shouldn't have happened. I want you to remember this woman. I don't want you to remember the horrible, disgusting criminal. I want you to remember the woman. I want you to remember her name. Her name was Kate Tibbitts. I didn't know much about her, but I do know one thing. She deserved better.